Hang up and try again.
So, Steve, lovely to meet you. I've watched you beautiful sort of playing all over social media. First and foremost, for those that don't know, what do you do in your normal day job? Introduce yourself.
Okay, so I am one of the BBC's Moscow correspondents, reporting from Russia and across the former Soviet Union. That's the day job. But I love playing the piano. I always have done. And, especially at this pandemic time, this crazy time when the world seems like it's gone mad, it's been a great solace to me, actually, to come back from work, when you've been reporting about Putin and the Kremlin and things like that, and to put all that behind you and sit down and just sort of play the piano.
What do you like about, because you've been there a long time now in Russia, Moscow, whatever. What do you like about living there? What's the key, what keeps you there? Because obviously a job like yours, it's a key job, I get it. But you could move around the world, couldn't you? Because you are an international reporter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've lived in Moscow for nearly 30 years. I mean, it's shocking to think that more than half of my life I spent here. And living in Russia, reporting on Russia. But I find this place fascinating. It's the biggest country in the world. And Russia's like a huge Tolstoy novel. It's like War and Peace. You keep turning the pages to find out what's going to happen and how it's all going to finish. And it never seems to finish. It goes on, and there are twists and turns. And I'm still absolutely fascinated by the place.
Now listen, quick question I have to ask you. You're playing, who inspired you, because I just love anybody who can play an instrument, any sort of instrument, it's a talent. You make it look really easy, but was there a person, when you were growing up that you thought, I remember my dad had records of Winifred Atwell and people like that who, could cross their hands and everything. And then, of course, we've got the lovely Bobby Crush in our generation. But who was your person? Were they more classically based pianists?
It's funny, Neil, I wouldn't say there was one person who inspired me. I think I'm a product of the TV set. When I was growing up, I watched a lot of television. I sat in front of the TV. And so the music that I was exposed to from an early age was the music of theme tunes and signature tunes and television idents and all the music on TV and Bring Me Sunshine, Morecambe and Wise, and Together We'll Be Okay, Cannon and Ball, and the Eurovision Song Contest, and Top of the Pops, all this together. And then I started to get interested in playing myself, and I found that I could kind of pick up the melodies of a TV theme tune and sort of play it basically on the piano. So there wasn't like one person who kind of inspired me.
I remember those albums, actually, Steve, that you were able to buy, Music for Pleasure, and they sort of bring them out every 2 years, and they had top TV themes. Do you remember, like the Oneiden line and the Persuaders and stuff? And they were so brilliantly done, they were, I mean, as you say, you knew your programme was starting just by that theme tune, whereas I don't know if today we have, I mean, maybe I'm wrong and you may disagree, but what's this sort of catchy hook, apart from, I would say, Downton Abbey today, that you would think is a good theme tune?
It's a good point, Neil. I think today you get fewer theme tunes, and some programmes don't have theme tunes at all. But back in the 70s and the 80s when I was growing up, I mean, theme tunes were big. And don't forget that in those days, there were just 3 television channels and then 4 television channels. So, millions and millions of people watched one program. 20 million people watched Morecambe and Wise, and 20 million people could hum and sing Bring Me Sunshine. So in these days of multi-channel experience, I think we've lost that. Yeah. We've gained so many different channels, but we've lost that kind of sense of the nation sitting and watching one program and recognizing that theme tune.
Yeah. Eurovision. I know you're a huge fan. What is it about Eurovision? Because I like Eurovision. My memories, probably like yourself, are, I think I remember, people like Clodagh Rogers and people like that, but I think the one that really had an impact on me was seeing Lindsay DePaul and Mike Moran singing Rock Bottom with the 2 intertwined pianos. Do you remember? And I thought,
I remember that, 1977.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I bought the record, and then I think I kind of was disinterested until Bardot came with One Step Further. Love that one. But what is it about Eurovision that got you hooked? Because you've been in a competition for it, and you've hosted some elements of Eurovision as well, which is, I mean, what a coup.
Eurovision was like one of the few nights of the year when Mum and Dad would let me stay up late and watch a program that went on late. And it was just fascinating. And, all these different countries singing in all these different languages, and then hearing the jury voting, these crackly telephone lines at the end. It was amazing. And I think, in a way, my interest in foreign news, my interest in becoming a journalist, stems from Eurovision. Like the Eurovision Song Contest and programs like Je Sans Frontières. Do you remember the international version of It's a Knockout?
Yeah.
They're seeing these different countries and different people and different languages. And I just got hooked. And again, I started kind of playing about on the piano and playing some of these songs. And I have to say, and I don't know if there's anything to be proud of, maybe not, but I can play every winning Eurovision song there's ever been since 1956 on the piano. It's not a talent, it's a medical condition, I'm sure. But I love the Eurovision Song Contest. And, one of my crowning glories came in Russia in 1996. I wasn't working for the BBC then. I'd set up this company to do teletext, would you believe, a kind of a Russian CFAX.
Yeah.
And I was working at Russian television, and I wandered downstairs into a studio, and they were rehearsing for the Russian Song for Europe contest, the Russian contest to choose their song for the Eurovision Song Contest. And I got chatting with the director of that program and said that I was interested in Eurovision. And he said, well, why don't you come on the program tonight? I said, really? So a few hours later, there I was in a terrible jacket, co-hosting Russia's Song for Europe contest in 1996.
That's a showbiz break, though, Steve, isn't it? That is a showbiz break, without a doubt, yeah. Is it true you played piano for Mr. Gorbachev? And how did that come about? How did that evolve?
That was a funny situation. So we just finished an interview with Gorbachev, 45-minute interview. And at the end, he took us into the room next door to sign his latest book. And the camera operator, Julie, saw a piano in the corner and said to Gorbachev, do you play the piano, Mr. Gorbachev? And he said, no, but do any of you? So I put my hand up and said, I play. So he said, well, sit down and play. So I sat down at Gorbachev's piano and I thought, what do I play? So I started playing some sort of Russian folk tunes, and he started singing. And he sang for 5 minutes his favourite folk tunes, his late wife's favourite melodies. And I learnt more about that man in that 5 musical minutes than I had done in 45 minutes of a political interview. Because he showed himself to be such a warm person.
Yeah.
And it was just lovely. It was a very special moment.
I know, and it's interesting because, I mean, that's the thing I was going to say about music. It can just break down barriers. Everybody loves music. Everybody gets connected through music. And you couldn't have got that close, as you rightly said, without that barrier being broken and him thinking, oh, this brings back a nice memory. This is a warm feeling. You should have done an album, Steve. Finally, let me ask you. As I say, love your videos online. For those that haven't discovered you yet, why should they tune in? And what do you believe that your music is doing to people who are discovering you, and they're millions online? What is it that you think it does?
I try to have fun with my music, and I try to connect, with people around the world with my music. And, whether it's playing some old famous theme tunes or theme tunes in the style of the Russian classics, or just, I try to have a lot of fun with the music. And I think having fun today, particularly today when, we're in the middle of a pandemic and there's not much fun really, but having a bit of fun with music online, I think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I get fun from it. And I'm glad that people seem to enjoy it too.
I really enjoyed it, and we have a very special performance that you've done exclusively for us, which is one of my favourite theme tunes. Do you want to introduce it, Steve? Because I don't want to. I'm bashful.
That's right. Neil, I know that this is one of your favourites. You like the theme tune, don't you, from Upstairs, Downstairs?
Brilliant.
That classic ITV drama. So I decided to play the theme tune from Upstairs, Downstairs I think it's by Alexander Faris. A real classic.
A real classic. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll play out with your beautiful playing of, as you say, the iconic Upstairs, Downstairs. Thank you so much.
Thanks.